So, what is the purpose of trauma? We find it difficult, and this is something that we ask ourselves many times. Why me? Or why is there evil and suffering? Why do we have to experience pain in this world? We have all of these questions when we experience trauma, and this is what I want to go into in this video. The first reason why we experience suffering is because we have free will. Human beings have been given free will, and so they have the choice to choose between right and wrong and between good and evil. The opposite of that is if we were robots and our actions were determined, and whenever we wanted to commit any harm to ourselves or others, something would intervene and we wouldn't be able to. And so, because free will exists in this world, human beings will experience suffering because the choice of evil exists. And so, suffering is the price of freedom. We have the ability to love, we have the ability to be cruel, we have the ability to be just, we have the ability to oppress, and having both of these capabilities is what makes us human. So essentially, freedom is the reason that we have evil in the world. That is more of a spiritual understanding of why we suffer. From a psychological perspective, it allows us to develop our character. It tests our virtues. Although it is very painful, it brings us towards ourselves. It builds resilience. It develops our character. When life is easy, virtues like patience, courage, forgiveness are untested. So hardship reveals our character. And it's very easy to be patient when things are going good. It's very easy to forgive people when they haven't hurt us. But when we experience trauma, when we experience pain from others, it reveals who we are. It reveals who we are under pressure. It reveals who we are under stress. When we're truly being squeezed, what is really inside of us and what are we really made of. And so affliction is a mirror and reflects back to us what is inside of us and who we really are. And that is important. It's important because we can say we're patient, we can describe ourselves as good human beings, we can say we're moral, we can say a lot of things about ourselves, but in the moment that we're tested, our actions will speak for us. It's not our words. It's very easy to claim things and to claim who you'll be in a certain situation. And so hardship, it all depends on how you interpret hardship. If you start to interpret hardship as a reflection of your self-worth, then you're going to go down a very self-destructive path, because suffering is not a reflection of your self-worth, but it is to see who you are. It is to test your character. It is to test your free will. It is to test how much integrity you have to your values. When we're in hardship, there are certain situations that test our values, and it's very easy to break our own boundaries and break our own values to please other people. And so that is very important, because we can say we have values of justice, we have values of compassion, but when you're in situations where your values are tested, it reveals if you would sacrifice your values for other people, or for your own comfort, or for temporary pleasure. And so whenever we're in affliction, it is better to go or to deal with that calamity, to deal with that affliction by thinking, what value or what character can I show in this moment that I haven't shown previously? For example, it's very easy to become impatient and to become ungrateful when you're in hardship. So the next time that you're in suffering, you could act on gratitude and you could act on patience. It could be that in a situation where someone has hurt you and someone has been unjust, you want to avenge yourself, and so you do something to hurt them back. And so the next time that you're in hardship, you could think about how this time you could let go and you could forgive, even if that person has hurt you, even if they haven't said sorry. Obviously, it depends what the situation is, but just generally, developing forgiveness is a good quality to have. Hardship doesn't just bring with it pain, it also brings us closer to ourselves. It makes us appreciate life. We can't appreciate our blessings without also having experienced loss, experienced difficulty. And so that is how life is. And we're capable of living by that law. And so pain and suffering shapes us, and it shapes who we become. And we can take suffering and transform it into something good. It doesn't have to be destruction. We have a choice in that. We have a choice whether to take suffering and to take our trauma and to destroy ourselves and destroy other people with it, or to create something better. And the other reason why I believe there is suffering in the world is because it tests how we behave as a whole group. It tests humanity. It tells us how much humanity lives amongst us and lives amongst our communities. When we see injustice and oppression, we can look away. We can look away and ignore it because it doesn't affect us. But someone who's connected to humanity, someone who has compassion, will sacrifice their comfort to strive for justice and to strive for peace for other people. It's not just about attaining peace for yourself and living trauma free yourself. It is also to prevent suffering of the people that can't prevent suffering for themselves. We all have privileges, and there's different privileges that exist. Some people have a physical advantage, some people have financial advantage. There's so many different kinds of advantages we can have over one another, and it's to see, can you use your advantage to help? Can you take your privileges and the advantages you have over others to help them? Or will you just accumulate for your own self and accumulate resources for your own self and to live selfishly? So I think, first of all, trauma and suffering and pain will exist because freedom exists. That is the law of nature. And the other reason is because it reveals who we are, the good and the bad. We're looking at it from the lens of how can we understand suffering from the perspective of a good person, the person who's not hurting other people. And the way you can understand that is seeing what it reveals about you. Who are you under suffering? Who are you under trauma? And it's very easy to judge other people. So for people who don't go out their way to hurt other people, they will judge the people that hurt others as bad people, as unkind, as evil people. But those very people might hurt themselves and think that they're doing something better or more virtuous than the person who's hurting other people. But you're still hurting someone. And so we shouldn't have too much judgment over how other people behave when we fail to reflect on how we hurt and how we cause destruction. Everyone causes destruction, and it's for us to reflect on that and to ensure and to prevent ourselves from being destroyed by the trauma that we experience. So trauma is necessary, and if you look retrospectively, you will be able to see how pain has developed you, has developed your resistance, has made you stronger, developed your character, developed your values. People who haven't suffered sometimes lack empathy, lack the value of compassion, are unbothered by injustice. But the people that have experienced suffering, we observe that they are more compassionate, they are more empathetic, they are the ones that strive to create a just and peaceful world. So, pain doesn't just bring trauma and destruction, but it can also bring constructive action. It all depends on what we choose. And so it all comes back to our free will and how we will choose to live our lives and how often we're going to choose good over evil.